Welcome to this track, the second track of Severa. My name is Veli Hämäläinen. I'm working as the International Partner Sales Manager for Severa, and basically my background is 10 years in direct sales in Finland and 1.5 years now supporting our lovely partners in selling and supporting Severa. I asked in the previous track, I asked that how many of you know already Severa? No hands were raised, but here we have two. Yes. Very good. Welcome here. Glad to have Severa customers here present with us. Unfortunately, not sure if this presentation will give you a lot more information, but let's see. We're gonna do a bit of a hybrid today. So I rarely trust any slides. I usually trust that my speech is appealing enough, and I find slides usually boring, but unfortunately we're gonna have some slides. But rather than me just showing the theory of what Severa can do, we're going to have a little bit of a demo at the end of this track so you can see what Severa is all about. But without further ado, I will give Rasmus a few words in Danish.
Tak. Det her har vi lidt, Peter var lidt over det, i forhold til Excitec størrelse og vores lokationer. Så den tænker jeg, vi stryger henover, så jeg ikke bare gentager ham. Want to change?
Let's do.
Severa startede i Danmark i hvert fald i august sidste år. Det var i hvert fald der, hvor vi blev enepartner af det. Og er inde under det her Visma Sweden og Best of Breeds tilgangen, hvor Severa udfylder det her hul i forhold til projektstyring og ressourceallokering, hvor vi så tidligere har haft ting som ERP og rapport og mange af de andre systemer, som ligesom ligger udenom. Så Severa skulle selvfølgelig have været på det her slide her. Det er en fejl 40, men det er ikke mine slides. Det skulle have været Simons. Men i hvert fald, Severas tankegang er lidt en lille smule CRM og ressourceallokering og projektstyring som en helhed. Og så er der en stor rapport.
That's it.
That's it.
And then back to me. So basically, just a little bit of background of Severa. What Severa is all about, why was it established in the first place? Severa is already almost 25 years old. It was established by a guy called Ari-Pekka Salovaara, which is now running one of the Visma's business segments in the Nordics. But the need arose from the fact that engineering companies didn't have a proper solution to manage projects. So basically the classic example of demand and supply. We've been we're quite experienced when it comes to like knowing something about project management, and we're quite established in the Nordics like at the moment. Our total turnover is roughly about 13 million nowadays, so and we have about almost 1,700 customers nowadays spread all around the Nordics at the moment. I think like if one of the key figures we want to see here is that we are heavily investing in the R&D. So we try to make Severa a lot more user-friendly, a lot more with features, feature-packed solution in the future as well. Currently we are actually working on the new UI. So what you see here today within Severa might be a bit different in years to come. Let's see what happens. And we're actually having a beta testing in that. So if you're a current customer, you're more than welcome to join our beta team. What we established with Severa is that our customer life cycles are quite long because once we get a foot between the door, usually customer love us quite a lot. So we do have a really long customer life cycles as well. How established is Severa? Well, basically in the Nordics, as you can see, the majority of our customers is actually in Finland. Quite apparent because we've been there for 25 years. In the rest of the Nordics, a bit shorter time. In Denmark, even more shorter time. I think 1 year is now. I think you already mentioned that. But basically, we're quite established, and this small dot here is the Netherlands market. So we do have customers in the Netherlands as well, and some partners there as well. How we sell Severa? So basically, we have identified the fact that in Finland the direct sales works. Like there's no need to have any partners there. But in the rest of the Nordics, partners are the most crucial stakeholders for us. So at the moment, in the whole of the Nordics, we have about 44 partners selling, supporting, implementing Severa. In the Netherlands, we have two, so not that much, but even more quality also there. And in Denmark, we only have the one. And why do we have the one here? Basically, when we first did the market research in Denmark, we gotten to know people from Excitech, and we decided to make an exclusive partnership with them. So no other partner will be involved at the moment in Denmark. So basically, why we chose Excitech as the partner is, well, first of all, local market knowledge. We tried it in Netherlands. We hired Finnish salespeople to sell Severa in the Dutch market. We quickly found out that it really doesn't make any sense for us to serve them in English. We might as well have partners supporting in local languages, understanding the culture, understanding how people behave. So partners are the best way to do that, be localized in any markets. Severa know-how, I already told, I've been telling you that a lot. I think you're getting a bit too cocky at the moment, but the Severa know-how with Excitech has been extremely fast. Severa can be, as a product, a bit complicated because there's a lot of different workflows it has to serve within our customer base, and it sometimes might be difficult to get your way around Severa. But Excitech has been proven that to be wrong, basically. They've been really fast in knowing what kind of value Severa brings, what kind of workflows you can actually build around Severa. Also, rarely Severa can act as a standalone product. We always need at least the ERP integration which handles the invoicing flow. But also Severa, in bigger companies, Severa usually is the main engine in really complex ecosystems, so we need to have complementing software portfolio whenever we are choosing our partners. High quality standards. Severa is not known for its cheapness. Well, yeah, not sure if you can agree with that, but Severa we're not marketing ourselves as the cheap solution. We are marketing ourselves as the best solution. And we've already established that brand quality in Finland, also in Sweden, but we have our work to cut out in Denmark because we are quite new here. But we do have high quality standards in anything we do. So we need to be sure that also our partners are representing those values. Whenever they are doing calling or selling Severa to customers, we don't want them to be like lying or giving false truths to customers and not being able to answer questions, whether it's sales or support or anything like that. We need them to be representing the Severa brand values. Excitech is a prime example of that. Technical know-how, really good example is that Excitech has been already building integrations from Severa and to Severa. So our partners need to be able to handle that as well, because we want to, all of the not crucial integrations we do want to outsource to our partners, because sometimes customers have really specific need when it comes to integrations, and unfortunately we can only do so much in building new integrations. So I think partners are really crucial in that sense as well. And strong foundation in Nordics. At the moment, in Sweden, by far our best partner and most important partner at the moment is Excitech AB. The same goes for Norway, they're strongly established. So it made a lot of sense for us to also choose Excitech in the Danish market. And you haven't let us down. Thank you for that. And also, I talked about the ecosystem. We need to have standard integrations, the most common ERPs in any market we go through. Whether they're riding under the Visma flag, because we are a part of Visma family, so it makes a lot of sense for us to be integrated with that. But Severa is a standalone brand. We don't want to be isolated or limited only to Visma ERPs. We want to, like, whatever the customer needs, we want to be there for them. But of course, we also recommend Business Next because it just happens to be one of the best ERPs in the Danish market as well. That's it for the slides. Next up would be a small presentation of what Severa is actually capable of. So let's dive into the demo aspect, and hopefully you can see the text big enough there. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any point. I'm not gonna go through a 60-minute demo. I have about 15 minutes left to show you the kind of like the crucial aspects of Severa. So what Severa provides to our customers? Well, it usually depends on the customer. What we can do is all of these features you can see on the left side here. Really common for our consulting companies, customers, is that they are having like separated CRMs, and project management is done in maybe multiple softwares. We want to bring all those features under one roof. And although we're not like competing with Salesforce in the CRM market, what Severa brings to the table is actually the really strong information flow that what has been sold and what will be executed. Because a really common bottleneck is that salesperson goes on and sells a project, and the project manager gets that on the table. They have no idea what has been sold. And the first 5 hours goes to finding out what has actually been sold, what is the scope of the project, how do we handle that. Severa, within the system, you can actually handle that. So in the information flow, you can create a sales project and sales case and convert that to a project without those manual bottlenecks. But maybe one of the more, because there was a good question at the previous track, is that what is the main argument for Severa? And you can talk hours about different features, but I think at the end of the day we need to look outside the features and find what is the actual operating bottleneck in any business. And in any business, it usually just happens to be data accessibility or the fact that you can't trust the data you're getting. So based on the conversations I had with my customers, is that they might spend hours and hours digging on that crucial KPI we need to have for the next board meeting, or when we are calculating our proposals, for example. We need this KPI in order to make decisions or evaluations. So in Severa, it is possible to actually think about those things, bring them straight to the dashboard, so whenever you sign in into the system, you can actually see that data in front of you. So for example, if I'm working as a CEO, CFO, I want to see how are we doing as a company, or are we hitting our sales targets, for example, and what is the current trend of our margins, for example. So really crucial financial figures. If I'm working as an account executive, I want to see how are my customers doing and are we hitting those targets. We can pretty much see here that in this demo environment, we're definitely not hitting those targets. And if I'm working as a project management or HR, I want to be on top of the workload of our employees. How are they doing? Do we need to hire new people? Do we have enough resources? We can get the resourcing information here quite nicely. As a project management manager, I'm really interested in how are we doing in the scope of the project. We estimated that it's about, we're going to spend 100 hours in this project. Are we close to that? How are we doing? Do we need to react, inform the customer that we're hitting the budget already? Or Severa provides that insight to the right people. As a salesperson, I can get the sales pipeline information as well. And if I'm working as a consultant, I could just bring the work hour entry straight to the dashboard, enter my hours, and be done with it. So we have sales pipeline management in Severa. We actually used to use this ourselves as well. Then we switched to Salesforce, which I actually hate nowadays. Severa was quite more simple solution when it came to just regular sales activities.
What do you define as your ideal customer profile in regards to branch or business? Is it project management? Is so many things?
Yeah, that's a good question actually, and I actually did fail to actually mention this. Our ideal customers, if that's what you meant. Yeah, so basically our ideal customers are these industries. But I would say in a nutshell, any company that which business is based on selling expertise to other companies. Based on work.
Sorry, I didn't look at your slides.
No worries, I actually... Exactly what I said. Nobody pays attention to the slides. But that's a good point, and I actually failed to mention that myself as well. But that's quite a crucial aspect, but because we need to also understand that compared to ERPs, we are a niche product. Like Severa doesn't work for every company. It works, but where it does work, it usually works the best way. So returning to the demo itself. So in the projects section, project managers could see the progress of their project, and usually in Severa we do have companies employing one person. We do have companies employing 1,000 people. So they are different needs we need to support with Severa, and also the workflows which we need to support. So whether you're just working on a single project and you only need to enter work hours, we need to be able to support that. But if your project structure or anything a bit more like complex, we can build these kind of phase structures in Severa and have quite complex solutions within Severa. And also when we need to follow the milestone that how are we doing and how many work hours have been entered, this kind of information can be gotten quite nicely from Severa. As I mentioned, Severa lives from the data. You can't have data without work hour entries. And you can't have work hour entries if the employees are not motivated to use the software. When we're having this discussion with customers, it's really common that customers sees a problem, but they might not have identified the root cause of that problem. So the customers might explain that they don't get the profitability because they don't have the reports. But the fact is that in most cases, employees are not motivated to use the system because it's difficult to use. So the employees might leave the work hour entries to the last day of the week, for example on Friday, try to remember what they did on Monday. You're gonna result in really not correct data at all. So basically we need to also solve that the employees themselves are motivated to use the system. It might not be the joy, like the biggest joy of the day, but it's not complicated to use. So that's why the work hour entries has to be supporting different kind of methods of entering work hours. So we do have, for example, IT coders like to use the stopwatch functionality. Then, for example, engineers, they like to have like a really simple way of just choosing a project, entering the work hours, or having, for example, suggestions from Severa. We're now trying to implement also AI functionalities that Severa would even wiser suggest work hour entries for the employees. All they need to do is accept the work hour entries. And also for the people who are using calendars as their weekly planner, you can add work hours based on a calendar events, for example. And we do synchronize with Outlook and Google calendars as well. Typical for engineers, doing weekly based work hour entries. So the daily view might be a bit too detailed, but in the weekly view it's quite easy to just enter your work hours here. And also when we are talking about Severa and work hour entries, we do take care of other than customer projects as well. So basically with whatever kind of administrative work you have to do, if you have absences, every single work hour entries would be entered into Severa. Really like topical KPI nowadays in expert companies is the billable rate of our employees. That's why it's quite important to enter every single work hour in Severa, because billable rate is a crucial KPI to actually see that how much time is spent on invoiceable work and how much time are we spending on work we can't even invoice. And we also have the mobile app as one of the alternatives where you can enter work hours. As I mentioned, Severa has its own calendar. One difference to like basic Google and Outlook is that you can actually have project linking to calendar events. So basically have this project diary when it comes to like seeing what has been done in the projects. In the resourcing view, you already saw a glimpse of it. What we have in Severa is two different ways of doing resourcing. One is resourcing by roles, really common when we are selling cases, projects, for example, to our customers. We might not know who's going to do it. We know that we're going to use this kind of expertise in it, and then allocate it to a certain employee later on. And also, as we saw here, see the employee level resourcing information, and this works as a editing view as well, so we can do editing of the resourcing here. Common question also is that companies tend to argue the fact that why would we need to do invoicing in Severa while we already have the ERP, which is our invoicing software. So a really common discussion, how I try to explain this is that if you are entering work hours which you're going to invoice at the end of the day, wouldn't it be easier to do the invoices in the same software instead of transferring those work hour entries from one place to another, increasing the margin for errors, for example, increasing the manual work? It would make a lot more sense to do the invoicing in the same software where the actual work has been done, and then just transfer that invoice to the ERP software. And also, really common argument for that is as well that Severa is a reporting tool. You can report financial figures. You can report them if you don't have invoicing here. Basically, I don't sell Severa if you don't do invoicing in Severa, because that's basically all of our sales arguments are going right to the toilet if you don't do invoicing in Severa. I could talk hours about the reporting tool. I would say like the reporting tool is one of our competitive strengths at the moment, but it's also maybe one of our bottlenecks, especially when we're trying to explain it in like a sales phase, because the reporting tool is really versatile in Severa. So basically, whatever data you have in Severa, you can pretty much report it out in from different kind of viewpoints. So basically, Severa has this kind of ready-made report standards, templates, which you can basically modify to your own use. So whatever, like if you need more values, you need to drop out few values from the reports. You can basically choose how you're gonna build your report yourself, choose different kind of filters and timeframes, and then just save it as your dashboard report, for example. So there's a lot of different ways you can utilize this reporting tool. One example I usually have with our potential customers is that we have the possibility in Severa to actually create our own KPIs as well. So what that means is that the old way of doing things is that customer wants a new field, for example, behind the project. Then they contact the software supplier that, hey, we need this new field. Could you give us a price tag, what this would cost if we would code this to our software? That's the old way of doing things. The kind of like the Severa way of doing things is that customers can create their own kind of custom fields and KPIs. What that means is that I created this example project in Severa, Digitale Transformation, which is now let's imagine we're an event planner organization, and we sold this event for Excitec that we're going to plan this for you and we're going to invoice it from you, so it's a project for us. But what's really crucial for us as a KPI is that we need to, in order for us to see how profitable projects are, we need to calculate it really simply that the amount of attendees in an event, we need to see that how much has been invoiced per attendee, which we can use in the future as one of our KPIs when we are calculating proposals. So in this case, I created a new custom field called attendee amount. So basically in this example, we would have 120 people attending this event. So once I filled in this field, I also created, before this presentation, I created my own KPI here, which I brought to the project financials. So now in real time, I can actually see that how much has been invoiced per attendee. So now in the future, I know that this is the figure we're gonna try to hit in the future. If we don't, we need to do something about it. Really simple example. Basically, sky's the limit when you're thinking about different ways of utilizing this. Usually in the engineering companies, for example, they want to follow that how much has been invoiced per square meter, for example. So these kind of KPIs, depending on how you, what do you need in your industry, what do you need as a customer, what is really important specifically to you. We don't want to be the ones saying that, hey, you need these reports. You can create them yourselves.
And these reports also cross project reports,
Yeah.
period
Yeah.
times.
Exactly. You can, with the reporting tool, you can have collective reports. For example, of all of my projects, I could see that what has been the invoicing per attendee on a certain time period, for example. So I would say like learning from, having that data accessible to you, but most importantly, learning from that data. That's how Severa usually is utilized within our customer base. Very good. We have about 2 minutes left. Really brief demo. That was hopefully it gave you some idea what Severa can do and what are the features. Are there any questions at this point? Last time there were none. What was the question I asked? Like,
My question last time was, you didn't actually show it this time, but the resource allocation
yeah.
within a project and the ability to switch resources within these keywords or these abilities that certain project members may have, or
Yeah.
different areas of the business.
Yeah. I guess I could give you an example of how the resourcing in Severa works. Is basically quite common is that in a company that's not using any kind of resourcing software or project management, they have Excels. They have a couple of different kind of Excels, one where they manage their workload and one where they do the resourcing. You have to like switch between them. But what's good about Severa is that actually in the same view, when we are doing, we have usually, there's some sort of budget, work hour budget per project, and we need to be able to allocate that to different kind of project members. So basically when we are doing resourcing in Severa, we can see the current workload of those employees we could use in this project. So basically it's quite easy for us to determine that Charlotte at the moment would be free. So I could allocate this work hour estimation between the project members. Once my internet stops messing around. Here we go. So basically I could choose to divide it evenly or just unevenly. And when I'm adding the allocations, I can see the workload changing in front of me. So this gives us an idea that how are we doing within the workload, who's overloaded, where we could maybe switch part of my resourcing to another like member of the project. So basically doing this kind of puzzle in Severa, the resourcing puzzle as we call it, it's quite good compared to the manual way of doing things.
When you say invoicing, is that invoicing through an API to a financial system?
Yeah.
And then you can retrieve data from the financial system.
Yeah. As mentioned here, the integration, like the most common integration we have to an ERP software is the expenses, purchase invoices brought from ERP to the project, sales invoices from Severa to the ERP, and also in some cases we also can integrate work hour entries for salaries, for example. And it should be like just click of a button or automated. Very good. Any other questions? In that case, I thank you for your time and feel free to take as much as coffee and chocolate as you want. Thank you very much.